Munson and The Geeza. Munson and The Geeza. Reporting from the scene. Munson and The Geeza. News in every ride.
Yeah, the thing is, right, it's easy enough to say that, Carl, but we've got to, there's lots of things we've got to take into consideration before we just start talking. Like, what are we talking about?
Well. Yeah, that would help, wouldn't it? By the way, yes, you do sound great. That was the last word I heard. It was like going into the tunnel of going towards the light. And all I could hear in my head was, do I sound okay? And the last words I heard were the Portuguese saying, do I sound okay?
Well, I'm a bit worried because it must just about be my turn to have tech difficulties, because I tell you what, didn't Philomena do a good job?
Goodness, wasn't that fantastic?
She just took it, and I've got to say I know this is maybe a little bit of a different group of people. I'm not sure though, but some of you, how many people are in the show? Hi, Jackie. But anyone who hears this who was there. That was just made my heart, because I wanted to help, Carl. I wanted to help, but I was literally going into a Zoom.
Were you
5 minutes later?
I think I sent you a message, didn't I? Please help, Tony.
Yeah, and I was just going into a Zoom. So I sent you a bunch of questions because I thought, well, I could think of loads of questions that I'd like to have asked Philomena, and you could feed them. But she just cracked on, didn't she?
She's a teacher, and she's one of you lot, and she.
Yeah.
All that was missing was a plan, which I understand you teachers need. I mean, I never noticed that with any of the teachers I had, but apparently that's what happens these days. You have a plan.
Well, the thing is, you should, even experienced teachers should have a plan, but you also have to be able to do this. When your principal goes, Mr. Tony, can you come here for a second? Can you please take class 5?
Origami.
Or even worse, it might be like, can you? I've had this where I've said, can you take class 5, but we haven't got a room? Can you teach them in the hall?
Yeah,
I've had stuff like that, and you just got to, you know what I mean? You got to think of something, and obviously after you've been doing it for enough years, you have a bunch of lessons in the bag. You know what I mean? And you can figure it out. But I've also had I can remember back to the heady days of being a new teacher, and every now and again, well, I mean. It's like anything. I can remember sometimes I'd be up at 2 in the morning writing lesson plans, just so that I could
maybe not even using them the morning after.
Maybe not even using them at all, and then of course learning the hard way that even if you've got 3 or 4 classes who are ostensibly at the same level, not every lesson plan works with every class. And that's just experience. She's obviously very experienced at that, and
she really is. I think 30 years. I think she said many decades of teaching. So
and this is something I've said about teaching as well. When I was a noob, I thought teachers who'd been doing it for 5 years were veterans, and then when 5 years goes by, you realize you know nothing. Then 10 years goes by, and you realize you know nothing. And I'm sure Philomena would say the same thing. You never stop learning.
No, I was like that on the Buddhist production line, and I was seeing people who'd had 5 lifetimes, 20 lifetimes, 100 lifetimes, and really that's nothing in the scheme of things.
Nothing.
Now, Jackie, this is slightly ominous because this is performance anxiety invoking, isn't it? Hiya, boys, I need this tonight. Yes. What does that mean?
It's like Faith No More. You remember they had that song, "You Want It All," but what was it? "You Want It All, but you can't have it." And it was like, what is it?
Yes.
What is it? So what is this?
Yes. What the heck is another difficult question? It's like lining up in the English cricket team in the 1980s, isn't it? Being faced by
Chinese cricket team. China G, China X1, China's 11.
When you realize that the Chinese have said you can use our bats and balls, and you say, okay, fine, and then you realize, oh oh, this could be trouble. These bats might be made out of some material I'm not used to, as maybe the balls as they.
Well, they might be spying on me or something.
Drones. They might be the Googly 2.0, a drone operated.
What's going on with these drones? Listen, I need some feedback from everyone in the chat. What is going on with these drones in the US? Because I've got what do you call it? I've got like loads of stories now.
No, something just went past the camera, or was it a drone? Something just moved past your camera. What's that?
No, this is
drone.
This is this fly. For some reason, it likes to go and just sit on the same one. It's been plaguing me for about 4 years. Yeah.
And is there a LED on your camera or something that it likes?
Yes, but there is. Maybe if I could
cover the LED up, mate. Definitely.
Mate, I should really cover the camera.
Okay. Even though we've tried to hide the show,
Suckerbird doesn't watch me wanking, you know.
Oh, mate.
What?
Okay, naughty step for a minute for him. That was awful. That was really awful. Just want to say, hopefully most of you didn't catch that. And Mark Zuckerberg will have. Don't you worry about that, the Portuguese. You made life even more difficult for yourself tonight with comments, with off the cuff comments like that one. As hard as we've tried to hide the show this evening, we've been found. Okay, have you pulled yourself together now?
Yes, I have pulled myself together.
Okay.
Yes.
Or have you stopped pulling yourself together?
I stopped pulling myself together. Yeah.
I can't find you on YouTube.
But eventually pull myself apart.
Hold on a minute. Too many cans of worms opening up here. Right, because you did throw in, well, I threw in the drone comment, didn't I, which you responded to. But let's say hello to everybody. Tell us what you need, and we'll do our best to provide it, Jackie. You're saying bit upset tonight. Sorry, lads. Well, if we don't want to pry, if you want to get it off your chest, like we're getting it off our chest tonight, whatever it
Jackie,
is.
I 100% agree with your sentiment, though. The government too busy to sort homeless issues. I was very, very cross with Angela Rayner.
Really?
You know, I don't want to sound like I'm picking on Labour, because obviously
they are the government.
They are the government, but what I mean is I don't want it to be like a left-right thing. But it's something. When I saw the interview with Angela Rayner, and she was in the same sentence saying they have to build more housing in England.
Yeah.
Because they've got too many asylum seekers and migrants. Yeah, and then someone mentioned
people who need. Should we just say people who need homes just to keep?
Well, no. The problem was it was differentiated though, Carl, because then the reporter pushed back and said, "Well, what about homeless people?" And then she said, "Well, there's enough housing for them. We don't have a problem with housing." Then the person said, "Hang on a second. You just said we need to build more housing."
Oh, yeah.
And she said, "Yes." And she said, "Yes, that's right." And then she said, "So have we got enough housing or not?" And she said, "Well, we have got enough housing, but we also need to build more new housing." You know what I mean? It's just what I wanted to ask was not just to do with Angela Rayner. There was another interview I saw with her where she was talking about companies agreeing with Labour's policy. And the reporter asked her again, "Well, can you name one of those companies? Can you name one of those companies?" And she just kept saying, "Many companies agree with me. I've spoken to many companies." "Well, can you name one?" Because we could name 5, and then the reporter named like 5 who disagree. And she said, "Well, no, many." And what I wanted to ask is, what do you guys think is the solution to this? Because obviously Angela Rayner is just the latest in forever of politicians who either refuse to answer questions or just answer them with gibberish.
Yeah.
I mean, couldn't we have an independent body? I don't know how we would do that, who would say, "No, you have to answer the question." Or there's something that bothers me at PMQs, for example. Like I probably wouldn't last 5 minutes as the speaker, because if someone asked someone a point blank question and they just didn't answer, I would say, no. Stop here. Answer the question. If you expect me to keep things under control and keep things calm and keep things quiet so that you can answer the question, you need to be answering it, not with this random nonsense, especially when it's a direct question.
Well, like a grown up, you mean? Like a grown up in there?
Yeah, like a grown up. But what I'm saying is, aren't we? Doesn't it annoy you? I know you're apparently about to tell me that you don't care anymore or something.
We need to have the talk, Tony. It's been great, man. I've loved doing this.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that, being fired by text, but being fired on a live stream?
Yeah.
Not that I was going to do that, but how savage would that be? Actually, I shouldn't have said that, because if I'd done it and we'd planned it beforehand, we could have gone through with it, and it would have been that, you know, the where that guy fires the other guy on the live stream, and we could have got really some fantastic viral traffic on that. Should we do it next?
Yeah.
Do that next.
Have you ever heard of Yummy Noob?
No, who's that? Or what is that? Is it a type of sushi?
Well, I guess if you're not into motorcycles, you probably wouldn't. Yummy Noob has a big motorcycle channel where he's funny enough, he speaks Portuguese. He's a Brazilian, but he lives in the US, and he just talks about motorcycles, and he's got a very big channel. And he got a guy on called Spite. Spite was the guy's nickname, and Spite worked with him for about 2 or 3 years. And the thing about it was, most people who watch Yummy Noob would agree that Spite is what made the channel, what made his channel, because Spite was like really a lot more interesting than Yummy Noob in a way, and he was better at doing the kind of the visuals and the production side and everything like that. And after a while, I think Yummy Noob got bothered by that, so he sacked Spite on a YouTube video during a YouTube video. Yeah,
was that a spike in? I mean, if we can get everybody on here to do an NDA, because there's not many people watching, and we do that next week, I think I should be the one to fire you, not because that's how it should be, but because I think you're a better actor than me. I mean, you could really lose it and go crazy on the screen, maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it and see if that's a goer. I mean, in the struggle for, it might double our viewers, mightn't it, from 12 to 24?
From 12 to 24. Yeah.
I don't know. It's worth thinking about, isn't it? Because then we could have the makeup sex episode after that, couldn't we?
Behind the paywall.
Obviously, we'll double our viewership and then get massively rich.
Yeah,
with the paywall.
That would be behind the paywall for sure.
I think we've got the forward planning of this show figured out. Although is this time next week Christmas Day or something like that?
This time next week is not Christmas Day. It's Christmas. Is it Christmas Eve? Yeah. So I have a feeling we probably won't be doing the show next week on Christmas Eve.
Right. Well,
or would we? I don't know.
Maybe we will. Maybe we will be unorthodox in that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could. I mean, I'm generally not working on that day otherwise, but that doesn't stop me from doing the show. It's just that it makes me decide whether I talk about Christmas in this episode or not.
Oh my word! Oh, I see. Right. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, so, for example, I got my pal Santa to come to Good Morning Portugal a few days ago.
As it were, yes. Have we not had enough of that yet?
It came down the chimney.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the beauty. We were talking about doubling our viewership. Now it'll halving it by having a planning meeting live on air. I don't know. Maybe people like that sort of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, well, what it is I did think that it would be nice to speak to people about what their favorite Christmas carols are, and just reminisce about because I think, I know this show isn't really meant to be talking too much about Portugal, and it's probably something more for
our international audience.
Yeah, it's probably something more for GMP maybe. But I was thinking about like how people feel about doing Christmas in Portugal, because, for example, in Hong Kong, Christmas is not the most important holiday. They do have it is celebrated, but it's not the most important holiday. The most important holiday is Chinese New Year,
right?
And that kind of has the vibe of Christmas, if that makes sense,
right?
So I just wonder how people feel about Christmas in Portugal. I mean, I suppose it's similar in a way to Christmas in the UK. What do people think about that?
Well, there are lots of thoughts at the moment, and this is turning into a CIA kind of demoralization technique, where we ask so many questions without answering any of them. This probably will get picked up as an interrogation technique, won't it? It does feel like a bit like that. Okay, so we've got a number of threads then that we might pursue. One of them was you were asking me what to do about politicians not answering questions. That's one. I'll just park that up.
Give me a chance to answer the question, Portuguese.
That was a long time ago.
You've moved on.
Yes,
I
will get round to that, but let me first just be very clear about this. That's a technique, isn't it? And there's a great joke brewing in the chat. Although I think Pete's winding us up. There is no punchline, and he's just pretending there is, because he did this on the morning show the other day. Yeah. What the heck's going on here? I don't know if that's ever going to get answered, quite frankly. I don't know what to do with that one, but we will file that. Marie, good evening to you, Marie. The drones should not be permitted to fly. Simple. Well, okay, that presupposes that there is an authority at work that is allowing that, Marie.
Yeah. People should not use guns illegally.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing.
Be allowed, should it?
Yeah, I could even.
Okay.
So I got to be careful now because we've got to slow down on the topics.
You have to slow down, and I'm putting you behind a text wall now, so that we can still hear you. We can
who's that guy? Who was that? Remember the
Gilroy?
Gilroy, that's him. Yeah, Gilroy.
The seventh. So this started the other day when you and Chinese Terry were on the show, and that was quite the controversial show. It was in a beautiful setting, but between the pair of you, I had to have a cafe con chirino brandy after that one, just to let everybody.
I don't know if I get this joke. No nun in Italy. There's no nun in Italy. If you are there
seven dwarves? Let's see if we can do it justice. And good evening to you, Fleedham, because he was saying, "How late am I?" And then he heard you talking. He was like, rant time, right on time. And he's got some other excellent comments. You're on fire tonight, Fleedham, I hope, only metaphorically. The seven dwarves went to the Vatican. And when the Pope answered the door, which of course he wouldn't do anyway, but this is a joke, Dopey stepped forward. Your Excellency, he said, although I would expect something different, if Dopey's addressing the Pope, not Your Excellency. But anyway, I'm being rather picky. Let's continue. He said, I wonder if you could tell me if there are any dwarf nuns in Rome. No, Dopey. No, Dopey, there aren't, the Pope replied. Dopey, let's do it in a Gregorian chant of a way, shall we? Behind Dopey, the six dwarves started to titter. Well, are there any dwarf nuns in Italy? Dopey persisted. No, none in Italy, the Pope answered more sternly. Oh, no, none in Italy, answered the Pope more sternly, which I would have known if I'd read ahead a little bit. A few more dwarves began to laugh openly, who is not one of the dwarves, openly. Well, are there any dwarf nuns in Europe? And then he goes and makes a cup of tea. Yeah. Can we have the rest of the joke, Pete? Or is it always going to be like this? You're going to share just the first half of a joke.
Is it always going to be like this? Is it always going to be like this?
Can we fire viewers as well?
Right, well, come on. Let's wait till we go. Let's wait till we go up here. You got to wait till you get up to like.
We can't afford to at the moment. That's true.
It's like I got like 6,000 subs on my what do you call it? Yeah, so now sometimes I do get a bit strict in the comments when they're being a bit silly. When they're being a bit silly. I'll unsubscribe.
I'll do it for you. Here, let me help. Boom.
Yeah.
Some psychedelics will give you the independent body telling you what to experience. That's brilliant, isn't it, Fleedham? Well said. I asked. Now, this is another little can of worms here. Surprised at the answer. Now, I'm sure you've done this. You've asked ChatGPT who the Portuguese is, right?
ChatGPT doesn't know who I am. Knows who you are.
You are. So ChatGPT knows who I am. It's a bit like VHS and Betamax then, because Grok definitely knows who you are, the Portuguese.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so much so that Tito was a little disturbed about the amount of personal detail there and decided not to put it on the screen, but send it to me personally.
Oh, so this is what I'm talking about with covering the camera.
Yes, right. I don't think it knows that about you, but Christmas is always an upsetting time of year. Okay. This is from Pete to Jackie. Some of my best friends have been waking up late afternoon in a beach hut with no sign of Santa's local cola suit. Seriously, though, let politicians who do it out of necessity, not for fame, power, or financial enrichment. Well, good luck finding people like that. Okay, Coca-Cola, the most important holiday for Christians is Easter. And nothing about me, says T-Duck. So I asked Grok, I said to Grok, I did the other day, who is Thunderduck in Portugal? So this Grok is getting really grilled tonight by at least 2 questions. Probably can cope with that with the amazing AWS servers of Amazon. Solar Life, my best Christmas is everyone. I'm on my own. Oh, my neighbor has had a bit to drink tonight and is being a pain in the ass. Ah, okay. So there is no punchline again. As in, you couldn't post. Oh, okay, here it is. This time, the Pope was much more firm. I've heard this. Dopey, there are no dwarf nuns in Europe. He's getting crossed by this stage. By this point, the other dwarfs are laughing out loud and rolling on the ground. This is fantastic. Pope, Dopey demanded, are there any dwarf nuns in the world? No, Dopey, he snapped. There are no dwarf nuns anywhere in the world. Whereupon the 6th dwarf started jumping up and down. Oh, that is really just not worth waiting for. That's awful.
What? Was there a punchline? Was there a punchline?
It's awful. And you
please get back. Yeah, but I've waited a long time.
Don't read it out.
That?
Yes, exactly. I mean, that's just like the grown-up version of black and white and red all over, isn't it? Right. Okay.
Oh my God.
I don't know how much.
Oh my God.
Yes.
My God.
Come on, Pete. But Pete giggled at that in his.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I gotta say, it wasn't like it wasn't. I've heard worse.
Yeah, but it's not a great joke either, is it? But I think Pete liked that.
Do you know what's the way you tell them?
Yeah, it is, and it doesn't help that it comes in 6 installments.
Yeah, like I reckon if you'd have read it through first, so that you knew about like what intonation and everything like that.
Yes,
and you'd been able to read it in one go. I think it would have worked well.
All right. Now I do need to know if you want me to read out your Grok research out loud.
Well, yeah, is it going to be different to because I just checked it as well, and it seems pretty positive.
That's not me. That is not me, by the way.
Yeah, I've got that as well. Grok said it said loads of positive things, and it said, however, it's worth noting that Gitano Tony Bryant was sentenced for tax evasion in the US related to his cigar importing business. But
right?
This is a different Tony Bryant. Not related to the Tony Bryant in Portugal. I mean, hey.
Do you know? Maybe not, right? Maybe.
My cigar importing business, you know.
Well, there must be a reason why those shelves are buckling the way they are with only books on them. I think that's all your gold is in there, isn't it?
Tony Hinchcliffe, a different person with a similar name, has been involved in controversies, particularly for making offensive remarks. But this is not related to the Portuguesa.
How bizarre.
Hey.
And Jackie's got a domestic situation here. I'm close to swearing at my neighbor right now, but I'm going to have a smoke instead. Is there anything we can do? Could we pretend to be police officers? No, that's probably not a good thing to do live on air, is it? Yeah,
well, yeah.
No, that's
that'll
be on next week's Grok research.
She's not talking about cafe creams here, you know what I mean?
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. All right, cigars, whatever, smokes. Yeah. Okay, Pepe gained weight. Is that why it's buckling under the weight of Pepe over there? Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Angela Rayner if we must. And my advice to you, Tony, is to stop watching.
You can't.
That's it, I'm afraid. I'm afraid that is it, mate. That is it.
Listen to me. I went to lunch with someone last week, and she was telling me how she's kind of like she's a nice person, but she's gone. She's gone. She's like, nothing exists. Your brain creates reality. You know. Ooh. So now she just doesn't care about anything. She doesn't care about anything. And I thought, you've gone too far.
Right.
You know? Because listen to me.
Do you mean you're not prepared to go that far?
No, I'm not prepared to go that far. Yeah. I told you, I like my ego.
No,
I love my ego. I love it.
Yes. Where would the Portuguese channel be without it? Honestly, I totally understand.
So the thing about it is, like, Angela Rayner's not doing anything new, but I do think that it does hurt people. I think what she does causes harm. I think what politicians do causes harm. So we could say don't watch it, and I get that. I do get that,
Hmm.
but I do think they cause harm. They cause actual harm, you know. And what I'm actually worried about, not worried, wrong word. What I'm actually wondering about is what could be a solution to this problem. What could be a solution to this problem?
Oh, as in to stop politicians causing harm, or to stop harm in the world?
No, to stop them from refusing to answer questions.
But do you think anything would change if they did answer the questions?
Yeah, I do think something would change. I think people would have to sit up and pay attention.
I don't think it
And
matters. I think what's
mm,
going on clearly shows that none of it matters at all. Doesn't matter what
yeah.
they say.
Well, in that case, why don't they just I suppose they do just lie to our face, don't they? Well, I mean, like what's going on in America, I think is quite interesting at the moment.
Yeah.
You've got this, because I've been watching this, you got this kind of grinning idiot. I can't remember his name, someone Kirby or someone,
All right.
like from the Pentagon or something. And there's all these drones flying about.
Yeah.
And they literally come out and say, yeah, we don't know what they are, but there's no risk to the population, and they're not ours, but they're not they're definitely not a foreign.
And maybe that works for most people, Tony.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't seem to be. It seems to be upsetting a lot of people.
Well, do you know, there's two things I want to say to you that's connected with this. The general idea that, you know, should we be interested in these things? And like is it your neighbor, did you say, who says you create your own reality and none of it exists except for what you manufacture or manifest in your own imagination, etc., which I have some sympathy with. I mean, I think it's a bit too I don't know, idealistic possibly, but I don't know what it's like to live her life or what results she gets, so it's hard to say. But actually we're still working. You keep talking because it's helping us get in. This is like Oceans 26, which will be an entirely AI based episode. I've got Thunderduck in my ear say keep him talking, because eventually he'll crack and he'll give us the passwords, or together with AI we'll have all these personal details by the end of the show. So I'm just keeping you talking here in a movie plot, which I think is rather good. Yeah, there you go. It's Monkey 1, 2, 3. But if anybody,
oh my God, hey, listen to me.
Take that off the screen. Take that off the screen.
Right. Hey, with respect, that's not only the password to my YouTube channel. I use that password for everything.
Right.
Everything. So I'm really going to have to.
There's another guess. I like that.
Oh my God! And that one. That's my. What do you call it? My double lock.
That's I see.
What do they call that?
Double lock is some sort of tantric sex act.
Oh right. What do they call it? Two-step or step.
Two-step authentication.
Two-step verification, because isn't that what? That's what they say. Everybody's going to be happy to have the new digital ID in England, didn't they?
So they won't have to do 2 steps.
Yeah. Now you only have to put
20,000 step authentication. There you go.
I tell you what, Carl, it is kind of scary. Some of them are sailing a little bit close to the wind.
They are, aren't they? Well, they still don't know which order to put them in, so you're still ahead of them.
Step 20,069.
1969. This is brilliant. Have your security breached just by trying to do a service to the public and do a live stream every week? It's outrageous, isn't it? This familiarity is breeding contempt among the viewers.
Well, hey guys, when you get into my bank account, you'll be able to withdraw all my money.
It's on the shelves behind him. Don't listen. Those bulging shelves tell a story.
Yeah.
Where were we? Politicians answering questions. Oh, drones. Okay. And the two things that I wanted to say to you before you told me 27 other things, and we had this password thread, is first of all, as I go to X now, which I still do, I find myself intervening on myself, where I'm about to click on something, and another part of me says, "Do you really want to do that?"
Yeah, I know.
And the part that's clicking says, "Actually, no, I don't. And I don't care anymore about so many of these things." And it's like I'm getting so little value back from this.
And also, Carl, I know. Tell me this happens to you as well, because I think this will happen to you as well.
Yeah,
you'll see something and you go to click on it and you think, nah, that's what she wants. She doesn't care about this any more than I do.
Which she
or whoever. Right. Like someone will say something like,
Doris of Watford.
So I can't think of anything. Someone will say something like, "Oh, let's face it, Angela Rayner is right, and those right wing journalists are just trying to undermine a strong woman or some rubbish." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you click on it.
You think, "What? I'm not clicking on that because you don't believe that."
Yeah.
Also,
No, I don't. I
you
actually
also
know
don't
that
believe
that
that.
level of complexity does not occur to me. I am in a phase at the moment. That's just what I wanted to say to you. I am in a phase of becoming very demotivated to know what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, in the sort of ballpark of your neighbor, possibly, but I don't think anyone else should do that. I think
Yeah.
everyone should do what they've got to do, and I
Yeah.
don't think I
The
would
thing
never
is,
suggest.
how can you live? It's like, do you know, just for example,
Mm.
like taking her, what she's not talking about simulation theory, but do you understand simulation theory?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That we are
So
in one.
we're in one,
Yeah.
and actually, when I heard it explained to me,
Yeah.
I also believe it.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
I almost think that the logic is how that works. I don't necessarily believe that we're sitting in a room with a headset on. It
Mm.
could just be the dream of Shiva. Do you know what I mean? But you almost have to believe it. But then, how do you live your life?
I don't think I've got that album. Is that a Pink Floyd album? The
Which one?
Gatefold one, the Dream of Shiva. Well, it sounds like some 70s album that used to roll joints on back in the
The dream of
day.
Shiva. No, but you know how
Yeah.
maybe for our viewers,
Yes.
the
Well, okay. I mean, let's put it into
simulation.
practice. Let's put it into reality and experience that we are creating this bit of the simulation which people are involved in at the moment. It's not
Yeah,
that
because
complicated.
there's other, like, for example, everyone has played a computer game. You
Mm,
know, I'm not a gamer, but I've played enough computer games to have experienced this,
yeah.
where your computer slows down a bit and the frames in front of you haven't been
Oh, refreshed.
created yet,
Yeah.
haven't been
Yes.
refreshed yet, you know.
Yes.
So and then also I've seen a few funny things in because I used to be into coding and stuff when I was younger, and I've seen a few funny things in games where they've actually lined up. Anyway, I'm not going to go to this nerdy stuff too much,
Jackie. Right.
but the thing about it is you can think about the simulation that way,
Yeah.
and there's some evidence that we do create reality, um, ad hoc, as it were. Do you know what I mean? Like as we go along, our
But, I
brain is
mean,
creating.
presumably the question is to what extent, not whether it happens or not.
Well, the thing is, if it really is a simulation, it's almost certainly like 100%.
yeah, yeah.
It's almost certainly like 100%. So the
But that's
idea of the simulation theory isn't it, is that you can see the evidence that computer simulations now are heading towards it, and it doesn't matter how quickly it happens. It could still be a million years in the future, but it's if the trajectory that simulations continue on at the moment end up at some point where
mhm,
we can't distinguish reality from simulation, which seems likely, and it
yeah,
seems likely pretty soon. I mean, we already can see deep fakes that are indistinguishable from reality. And I
yeah,
think I've spoken to you before about this problem, Carl, where I see evidence that already a certain part of the population already can't distinguish. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
I think
Well,
I showed you that on Facebook, for example,
yes,
where
you
a lot
did.
of people
You
can't
did an experiment, didn't you? Yeah,
they can't distinguish reality already. So it seems to be quite likely that that might already be. Of course, you don't know what you don't know, so that might already be happening to us quite a lot without
yeah,
us
and
knowing it.
it's useful to, I think, ask other questions, contextual questions like
Mm.
who is asking the question? What part of our consciousness is asking that question? And
Mm.
what is it just a mental exercise, or is there some
Yeah.
benefit? And
Well, I think there is logic to it though, because if you accept that at some point in the future we won't be able to distinguish simulation from reality, then
right,
the only way that we're not in a simulation is if we're in the kind of infinity to one odds that we're in base reality.
unless we're already there. and we are just entertaining with ourselves that we might get there again. I think that's more like it. I think most of what we fear is already happening.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said to you. I think we're probably already
of
not
course we
able
are.
to distinguish. Yeah.
Fool me 745 times. No shame.
Yeah, exactly.
Well done,
Exactly.
seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously. It's only saying it out loud that I get it. And he came for the sausage idioms. I think that there is a medication for that sort
Sausages.
of premature ejaculation. But
Release the
that was a
sausages.
long time ago, seriously. That's very good. All right. And the other part of this is that I was a little bit interested in the drone thing. So I started tuning into I thought this was quite smart. I started tuning into New Jersey, 101.5 FM, New Jersey.
Wow.
And I was listening to their talk show. Because I was listening in the afternoon, it was their breakfast show. And the first thing that occurred to me is, oh my God, how do people listen to this all day long? Have you got a herniated disc? Me too. And the best place I've ever had treatment is down at Dr. Blah, blah, blah. And these adverts are all like this, and they're really well produced. They're very good quality. But it's awful. It's just all adverts, basically. And then a DJ will come on. I'm thinking, okay, the presenter's coming on in a minute after all this flipping noise of adverts. And I think they played a bit of music, and they did need some news. And then the guy just fluffed and just made up stuff. Like Alan Partridge, like an American Alan Partridge. And I'm thinking, if they don't know, he was talking about the drones, but basically just saying, we don't know. We don't know. I do think it's the government, man. And it was just like so unuseful. It was interesting from a radio point of view.
But everything they're saying is unuseful. That's what I'm talking about. And I actually find it unusual. I actually find it unusual the way they're talking is. Do you remember I used that word before? Though, Carl, do you remember I used it is the delivery? Yeah.
Yes.
Remember, I was kind of. I'll tell you what. I was kind of taking
half an hour ago talking about timing and delivery. That was
I was actually supporting you. I was having a little dig at Carl, to be honest. But anyway, that's another story.
I missed that.
No, but listen. I've used this word before when I spoke to you about when I find things disorienting, and it might be what they're disorientating.
Psyoping. Should we say psyoping?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So what's confusing to me is you've got some people they dig out some profit, but I just find it fascinating. I find it fascinating, Carl. So I'm watching the first person will come out and go, listen, I've been a pilot. I've been a pilot for 25 years. And these are just aeroplanes. And then the next guy comes on, he's got a live stream, and it's a drone. You can see it's a drone. It's not an aeroplane, right? Yeah. And sometimes there's many of them. There's like lots of them on the same stream.
Yeah. So
there definitely some of the things that are being seen definitely are drones, right?
Yeah.
And then you get Navy pilot comes on, and he's like, I've been in the Navy, for 175 years, and I saw 50 of them come out of the sea.
Yes.
Explain that.
Which
and
is
then,
what we're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah. And then you get another guy comes on, it's going, of course they're UFOs. We've been probed by UFOs since the 1930s. The Americans
that's the age we're living in, mate.
The Americans have got alien tech. They've got alien tech. I'm telling you. They've reverse engineered it.
Yes.
and then you get, you get the guy from the Pentagon.
Every group will have it be able to project onto it, won't it? Or
then the next guy, you get this guy Kirby, his name. He's got this horrible grin. He's like, real fake grin, like. And they say to him, "Is there anything to worry about?" They say, "Yeah." They say, "No, there's nothing. There's nothing to worry about." Yeah. Are they from a foreign adversary? No, they're not from a foreign adversary.
Nothing.
Well, do you know where they're from? No.
Next question.
We don't know. We don't know where they're from. Well, how do you? Well, this was the thing. I was speaking to one of my students, a CAE student, who I also do a bit of coding with. He's like quite a logical thinker and everything like that. And I said to him, I was speaking to him about this because they were doing a press conference with the Pentagon, and because there's a woman as well. They got a woman who's a really, I shouldn't say really, but she kind of looks like she could be a robot. You know what I mean? But she You know, sometimes you get these people and they're standing there, you think that's not a real, I'm not looking at a real person here. This
No.
is not a real person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's impossible. They just wheel this person out. What's her job otherwise? Like every 6 months when some weird things happens, they wheel this person out. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And you think, what does this person do in real life?
Yes.
So anyway, she says in the same sentence, we don't know what they are, but they're nothing to worry about. They're definitely not from a foreign adversary, and they're definitely not from the government, right? So everything is contradictory, isn't it? So I said to Kenny, listen, what if you were a journalist, what would your next question be? He had to think, and he said, well, my next question would be, how can you know that they're not a threat or they're not from a foreign government if you don't know what they are? And I said, yeah, exactly. That's what my question would be. Why aren't any of those journalists asking them that question? And he had to think about it. And he said, because if they ask that question, they'll never get to be in that room again with Pentagon spokesperson. I said, exactly.
There you go.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it. And that's why you'll never, ever get your answers that you want. Is because the journalists.
Yeah, so which brings us back to the earlier scenario, doesn't it? Which is what all you can do is stop wanting answers.
Yeah. Is that satisfying? Are you satisfied with that?
I am so satisfied with that right now. You have no idea how satisfied I feel with that. Now, I know it's not going to be the same for everybody. Yeah, and I get the sense it's not satisfying for you. But for me, it's like, it's that easy.
Do you know what they're doing? There's been a nuclear bomb that's gone missing from Ukraine.
That's one of the theories, isn't it?
That's one of the theories, yeah. So the drones are sniffer drones that can sniff. This is another one I've heard. They can sniff.
Are you trying to make me concerned now?
They can sniff nuclear. Yeah, one of them. Some people think it might even be in San Martino de Porto.
Stop it, because that's going to end up on Grok, isn't it? You're feeding the servers now.
Everything ends up on Grok.
Exactly. So no, I'm still not concerned. And that's the training. I think more than anything, that's the training I'm enjoying. Is like, am I bothered? To coin a phrase.
Am I bothered?
Yes, that is the.
Am I bothered? Do I look bothered?
She is a guru. She is a guru.
Does he look bothered? Yeah. She maybe. Yeah. She weren't bothered. She weren't bothered, was she?
She wasn't. Well, the thing is, she really was bothered. That was what the joke was, wasn't it? But I'm not. I really am not bothered. And
do I look bothered? Do I look bothered? Yeah.
No. Gary Waterman, the whistleblower. Oh, the missing weapon.
I actually lost a relationship once, though. I'll tell you why.
No, Tony, it's too early for this. Oh, sorry, no. This is an actual anecdote, is it? Right.
This is a long time ago. But I remember I was going through a real phase at the time where I was like, but I used to not say I'm not bothered. I used to say I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about anything. And I kept saying it. I said I don't give a shit.
Oh, now you've got me bothered.
And one night.
Oh no, it's too early for this. The showstopper.
No, she said to me, she said, "Well, get out."
Really?
Yeah.
Is this a true story?
I really didn't give a shit. I also still didn't give a shit and went out and closed the door, and that was that. I never ever saw her or spoke to her again.
You
didn't look back.
So what? Because you wanted to make that final point that you really didn't care about anything.
I really didn't. At the time, I really didn't care about anything.
Did you?
I mean, I must have been about 30 something. I was really, really a very. I don't have any love for that guy. Well, I kind of do, because that's probably what he.
That guy. Absolutely.
That's probably what he needed.
Yeah.
But I was an asshole, man.
A nihilist, I guess.
Yeah, really.
And you took it to the absolute limit, and she tested you, and you kind of won, but you lost by winning.
A Pyrrhic victory, I think they call it.
Is that what they call it? I didn't realize that.
Right. You don't know that word? A Pyrrhic.
As in a funeral pyre, like you burn everything up to win.
Pyrrhic victory means you won, but you lost more than you
destroyed
won.
everything.
Yeah, it'd be like winning a nuclear war. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I won, but the
great for about 3 seconds.
3/4 of the population's dead. My kid's teeth's falling out. Yeah.
But I won. I got to win. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting some very good reviews tonight. I'm a natural as well. You're a natural. We've had that review. I'm a natural too. I zone out and I come back to Tony with the generic.
Carl should work for the Pentagon. He could be a Pentagon guy.
I could be a press secretary in the.
You could be a press secretary, and I could be an oppressed journalist.
Wow. You see, that really fits in with the simulation matrix discussion we were having. We're energies just expressing here in our own live stream at the moment, but we could equally be at the White House right now.
Yeah, maybe we are at the White House. Maybe that's how it works.
No. Apparently, nobody's at the White House. It's all done at a studio.
Yeah. I tell you the thing. I've never seen the White House. That could all be. I don't know where it was.
No, you're talking. I like that. Yes, I like that. You've not seen it in your own experience, but you have.
Yeah, I mean,
you talk about
it. Might be there. It might be there. A lot of people say it's there, but
might be gone by now.
Might be gone. Might be gone. Yeah, the drones didn't find the bomb in time. Someone checked X.
I still am not bothered, but mate,
that would be a hell of a thing. I think that would bother you. I think if I looked at X now and said, "Oh my God, guys, a nuke's gone off in,
okay, well, what
New Jersey, a nuke's gone off in New Jersey," and Carl would be like, "I just don't care. I'm not bothered."
Hold on, this is changing now. This is changing, now, isn't it? This is changing from my my disposition about it and my opinion about it. These are very different things. These are very, very different things. My disposition, it could be of not being bothered, which doesn't mean I don't care. And then when it becomes an opinion, then it sounds like, and probably is, a matter of not caring, which is what you were, to go back to that wonderful illustration you gave us of being in the relationship and saying, I don't give a shit, I don't give a shit. You were, I think, wanting to be challenged at that point. That's what that response was about, right? That was a to and fro between you both, and you possibly could have lived quite happily if she could accept that your disposition was that you were undetached, but there was an active destructive nihilism in your behavior, wasn't there? That was very different to being disinterested or detached, I think.
It's a very active thing. I mean, not to like psychoanalyze myself, but
yes,
I remember listening to a Pete Gabriel song at the time, and it was a line he said, "I kicked the habit and shed my skin." But I remember thinking about that.
Sledgehammer.
Shed my skin, and that was something I was really I just hated anything that made me feel at that time, anything that made me feel locked in, or I always felt like kind of oppressed by people, whether they were friend or foe. You know what I mean?
And have you really not spoken to her since?
Yeah, no, never spoken.
That's amazing. Well, Tony Bryant, we've got her here tonight. Burr, 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 burr. Can you imagine?
I think I would just apologize. What could I do?
Fair enough.
Because I occasionally have met people from those days when I was like very much like a hedonist and whatever, and that's always just what I've said. I've said, look, I'm really sorry, but I can't take it back. I can't take it back.
Play to you. No,
I'm not like that anymore.
My name is Earl, sort of stuff. Yeah. I don't know, but just not as good a TV show. Okay. If it was Dennis Waterman, Jackie, I would be interested. But I don't know who Gary Waterman, the whistleblower, is, and he has been talking. Oh, he's gone missing, so that it adds an. It was probably all planned when it.
Hillary Clinton.
Okay, yes, just release the fact he's missing now, just to keep everybody locked onto that particular theme.
Hillary Clinton shot him personally.
I feel like I should distance myself from that comment, like really a long way, just in case.
Well, otherwise you're going to disappear.
Exactly.
She's behind you. She's behind you, Carl.
Now I'm bothered. Now I'm bothered.
Hillary Clinton, dark Hillary Clinton's behind you.
I'm shedding my skin when I move to Portugal. You see, here's the thing, Jackie. They say wherever you go, there you are. Now, there's no harm in drawing a few lines and creating new boundaries and reinventing yourself where you go. But some of those psychotherapeutic undercurrents do tend to show up at some point, don't they, Tony?
Those psychotherapy what's?
I'm gonna unzip my belly and Put will crawl, and out will crawl the 29-year-old supermodel that's hiding in me. That must be very uncomfortable because they're quite bony, aren't they? That might be very uncomfortable having one of those inside you. Not that I'm asking for that to be my Christmas present or anything. Have you seen the substance, Jackie? Which one? The illicit substance. What is going on with everyone tonight? Oh dear, what's happened now?
Well, they just created ligers, tigons, and pluries.
Look what we've attracted now. You see, if this is
Henry,
do you know Henry? Henry
the trademark
1266.
Henry the Hoover. Whenever anyone's called Henry, I always think of that little red Hoover.
I don't think that's going to help in this situation.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, don't Google that. Because I remember trying to explain to one of my students what Henry the Hoover was. And I went Henry the Hoover. And you know, sometimes Google adds a little bit, like whatever is the most searched term. And it was Henry the Hoover arrest. And so when I put it up on the screen, it was a guy in Workington in the UK who had been like arrested. Someone had caught him with his plonker in Henry. And the picture, what was funny, I can't remember what. It was the sun, I think. And you know, they actually put a picture of him. You know Henry's face? It's like a little smile, a little cheeky smile.
Well, winking.
You can never look at Henry the same way again.
Like with one of those newspaper faces. Right now,
Henry the Hoover.
What I'm worried about here now, you have got me bothered now, and several themes running here have got me bothered now. If this is the same guy, and he's spent years trying to put that behind him, and you've just brought it up, that's going to be very embarrassing. Anyway, carry on, Henry the Third, 1266.
Look, I just want to share a picture.
Is that our homework
of Henry? Just so everybody knows.
I don't want to see that. No, thanks. The Substance is a film with Demi Moore, where pretty much exactly what Jackie said happens. What did Jackie say happened? She's got an annoying. That's a really boring plot.
She unzipped her tummy.
Oh, I see. She's not got
a 29-year-old model called out. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, not an annoying neighbour on the canal. Right.
No.
I thought
mixed up. That's what you got to remember. If your wife ever says to you, my friend tells me that I've got the body of a 30-year-old. Never say to her, you should give it back there. You're getting it all wrinkled.
Oh dear, oh dear. We're never far away from the 1970s, are we? Let's face it. Right, okay. I can go take a picture. No, Bob!
Hey.
How did this happen? How did this happen? I fell over in the utility room.
It gets worse.
Right.
No. I forgot the story was. No, come on. Please share my screen. Please.
You're not sharing your screen. Okay.
How do I share it?
You have
to do it. Settings.
Your end.
I'm going to write present because it's worse than I remember.
Have we got the same voltage? Are you using 220 tonight? Because I don't want to blow the show up.
It's worse than I remember.
Yeah. Okay. Noel Edmonds.
Former pastor, 74, sentenced after performing sex acts on a Henry Hoover.
Hold on. In front of the congregation or in his private house?
Well,
there is a. Listen to this.
They put him on the sex offenders register.
They
put him on the sex offenders register. But look at Henry. He doesn't look so. This must be a before. This must be a before. Now he's completely burnt out. That smile's gone forever.
Like that meme where he's at the end of the garden having a smoke, just trying to.
Yeah. That's what it's like.
Okay.
The court heard he was spotted in his office by a member of the public naked, apart from ladies' stockings.
Of course.
He was described as thrusting into a Henry Hoover during the incident in September 20. The court heard Jess notice the person, but continued. He continued.
Don't mind me.
Look, I like this line. I like this line. He continued and was also seen pleasuring himself. Now, by inference,
That's
he
not
was
true.
pleasuring. Before that, he was pleasuring the Henry.
No, but hold on a minute. I think it's only fair to this gentleman to read some of the background that his barrister was trying to bring in the defence here.
Well, he was coming to terms with the loss of his wife.
Yes.
And he was suffering with diabetes.
Yeah, I mean, that's enough to drive any man to abusing a Hoover, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh,
but you can see the course of events here, because
I like what the judge said. Why you thought it best to bring this matter to trial, I have no idea. Yeah. But placed on the sex offenders, that must be for letting someone see him, right? Because presumably
yes.
As much as I view Henry as very much the victim in this case, I'm not sure that I'm not sure that legally he was the victim here. I don't know how that works.
They say nature abhors a vacuum, but obviously a retired.
Oh, come on!
Retired.
Solar. Are you learning? Are you learning?
Yeah,
that's how you tell a joke.
I waited, didn't I? And then
waited a long time. One day, someone's going to tell a joke about sex and vacuum cleaners, and I'm ready.
We are ready.
It's in the barrel.
Yeah,
in the chamber. In the chamber, not in the barrel. In the chamber.
Yes,
I'm getting my gun.
You're getting your. It sounds like you're servicing a Hoover as well, just like he was. In fact, now he'd lost his wife and he was having diabetes. Now you can see the course of events here. He would have had a low blood sugar episode. He would have thought, this house needs tidying up. I've lost my wife. I'll go and get the Hoover. And then one thing led to another. I think with this. Oh, right. Okay. Can I take that off now? I'm uncomfortable.
You can, but I couldn't find one of Henry. But this is kind of how I imagine Henry looks now. If I could just share my screen just one more time.
Take that one off. Yeah.
Okay. Stop screen.
Maybe we won't be seeing you again anyway next week after this episode. Stop screen. Share screen. What?
Let me do it. There we go. Yeah. So this is, for example, what happened to the sharing, right? Isn't it?
Oh dear! Look at Jackie. She's a woman of the world, right? Okay, right.
Yeah. So this is R2D2 after his.
You're like,
after his brush with a pastor. So I guess, to be fair, I guess maybe.
But that's what the pastor should have said. You know, when the passerby came past and he thought he'd wave, he should have said something like, "This is not the sex offender you're looking for," and done a pastor mind trick on them, so they wouldn't have reported him anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he I can't remember what his surname was, but I know he had a problem with alcohol, didn't he? So maybe it was Pastor Flagon.
Okay, but right, we are. Okay. I don't know what to do with all of these. This is really taking a turn for the worse, this show tonight. But I suspect something interesting may have happened to you this week, Tony.
Oh my God. Something interesting. I don't know. You'll have to give me a moment because
you've got an hour. You've had an hour. How long do you need? Believing in the simulation.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I thought we were what did I say last week?
Fleedon was thrown in a simulation / Christian sort of comment here. So we are living in God's simulation, are we not? If we take it from a Christian perspective,
it could be dream of Shiva, dream of Allah.
Yes, but what about the Christian
one? Yahweh. What do we call him?
Yeah. Okay. All right. I see the fan inside the Hoover. Oh my word! Okay, enough of that now. I'm calling time on the Hoover Gate there. The Santa Cycle event. Yeah, there you go. Thank you for changing Bob was picking up psychically that I was becoming quite distressed with the content, so he's thrown in a question there, seemingly inoffensive.
The Santa event was interesting. Yeah, thank you. One of the 89 people who watched that video. I'm a little bit annoyed at YouTube this week. You know?
Oh no. Only this week.
Yeah, well, no, you put a bit of effort in, and they don't put it in front of people, and I think it was a fine video. It was a fine video. But I'll tell you what, I made my son groan a bit today because I picked him up from school, put the car in reverse, and I said, this takes me back.
reporting from the scene. Munson and The Geeza, news in every ride.